Today we thought we would create a video where we answered your most burning hair questions. So we thought we'd come down to this beautiful new salon. It's Franck Provost. So Aussies often say Franck Provost. It's actually Franck Provost. And I wanted to have a chat to Virginie, who is the head of education, and get her best tips and tricks because she has got some that I hadn't even heard before. First question is from Emily, and it is, how do I prevent split ends, especially when you're as married to your hair straightener as I am? A lot of people have issues with split ends, and there's really nothing you can do when they're split. You need to go and have a haircut. But there are a couple of things you can do to prevent them at home. So the biggest one is actually watching the heat on your styling tools. So make sure that you turn the dial down so you're not actually frying those ends. It makes it a lot worse. Another thing you can do if they're looking a little bit fried and frizzy is using a serum. Kerastase has one called Resistance Therapiste, and it basically smooths the ends and seals the ends and gives you a really nice glossy result. Question number 2. So Renee wanted to know, how can I stop my waves from falling out even when I use a straightener and hairspray? It always happens. This is actually my issue as well. I have the worst hair in history. It just drops anytime I put a curl in it. And Virginie actually recommends using a curling tong rather than a straightener, because when you use a straightener, it actually flattens the hair to the head. When you use a curling tong, you get a nice round wave, and you want to keep that wave close to the roots. So another tip is doing 2 shampoos. So the first shampoo will remove any styling products in your hair, any oil, and the second shampoo will really cleanse the roots, and you want to get it right into the roots, but not rubbing too hard, because now I had never heard this, it can actually stimulate the oil producing glands in your hair and create more oil, and that will weigh your hair down, hence making your wave drop. So you want to do 2 shampoos, and you also want to make sure that you wash your conditioner out really well. So not putting it near the roots at all, just avoiding that area completely, only conditioning the ends, and that will help keep your hair nice and lightweight when you're trying to style it. Our last question is from Caroline, and she wants to know, how do I manage my very curly hair? I'd love for it to look nice and sleek every day, but unless I straighten or blow dry it, it looks like a frizzy nightmare. So Virginie says the key is to really manage your curls and define your curls, but you don't want to actually be brushing your hair once the curl is in. Using curl defining creams, curl defining products, and just piecing out the curls with your fingers. And then the next day, spray your hair down with cold water and don't touch it, just leave it. And that will make your curls very happy. So another great tip for creating a wave or a curl in your hair that will really last is to use mousse. And Virginie recommends using a mandarin-sized ball on your hand, and then actually use a comb to comb it through. Just comb it through your crown and not through your ends, because you really want to create the volume in the roots of the hair. Finally, with curly hair, the cut is crucial, so you need to make sure your stylist really understands your hair. Virginie says that getting your stylist to cut your hair freehand is going to get the most beautiful natural result. So I hope we answered your questions. Thank you for all the questions you sent in. They were amazing. It was really hard to pick just 3. And just remember, you know, when it comes to looking after your hair, it's best to go to a salon, you know, learn how to use the products on yourself, and don't be afraid to try it at home, because it is totally achievable. You just have to work with your own texture of your hair.